What's up, guys? Team Stamp West, Discraft Underground, Team Captain Alex. Alex, how's it going tonight?
It's going pretty good, man.
Awesome. I'm super excited. We have one of Team Discraft's newest signs with us tonight. We got Mr. Scott Withers.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Going
Pretty
good.
good.
Scott, thank you so much for joining us. We're happy to have you here and get to know you a little bit better. And so we'll kind of start out with our intro question. Sort of tell us where you're from and how you got into disc golf.
All right, so I live in Albany, Oregon right now. Grew up on the Oregon coast in a real small town. So I'm about an hour and a half south of Portland. Everyone knows where Portland is. Everyone knows where Eugene is. I'm kind of smack in the middle of both of them, which gives me a kind of a good in and out to get to bigger areas or get to the airport or whatever. I've been playing disc golf since I was probably 15, so coming up on 20 years now. It was just something that my dad and I did, like walking up to the park because we didn't have anything else to do, or I walked up to the park with my buddies in the summertime because, you know, we were a bunch of dumb 15-year-old kids and had no money. So that's what you did, was you walked up, we found some Frisbees, started throwing them, probably should have given back, didn't know any better at the time. And it just kind of kept going from there. I come from a pretty extensive golf background, played golf through high school, actually started to play golf at a community college, and then decided, hey, I'm broke, I can't do this, so I'm gonna, I'm gonna go work and make some money, and then I've ended up going back to school since then and everything. But yeah, then after high school, disc golf got a little more serious. I was like, I'm doing okay at this. Like, maybe I should try a little harder and go play some small tournaments and stuff. And then, been kind of a crazy ride for the last 20 years, but it's been awesome.
Nice. That's super cool. It's so interesting to hear. It seems like there's a lot of people that have this golf background that have said the same thing, where golf is just really expensive. You know, you're paying 30 to $100 a round to go play 9, and if you want to go play disc golf, there's virtually a free course, within an hour of most places that you can drive to and play for free.
Yeah, it's a big part of my background and how I play, and kind of my mental game on the course and stuff is just coming from a game where it's like you hit bad shots all the time in golf. Like, you can't get through a round, it doesn't matter how good you are, without spraying one 25 yards off the fairway to the right. In disc golf, especially when we get to the top level, we all expect ourselves to be able to execute every single shot in the bag. Well, my scramble game is really good in disc golf. It's one of my strengths, and I think a lot of that mental game comes from, hey, I've played from 2 fairways over multiple times when I was trying to win golf tournaments. So, it's just a little bit of the background that kind of leads into disc golf for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm spraying. The amount of fairways I hit is very low. But we'll move past golf. We'll do another video about golf sometime. 20 wins in 2020. You just picked up your 20th win here a couple of weeks ago. What are some of the keys to your success in picking up 20 wins in a single season?
Play every weekend. I honestly play everything that comes up on the schedule. We obviously, everyone this year kind of got shut down by COVID, and living in Oregon, it was really strict for us. I work with kids. I work at the Boys and Girls Club. So if we left, got on a plane to travel, I had to quarantine for 2 weeks. So I was kind of out of the realm of playing anything big. Like, I had to take 2 weeks extra off, probably unpaid, if I came back, and it was just not a reality of something that I could pull off. And a lot of us were in that same boat on the West Coast for sure, where restrictions were super tight. But around here, we were lucky enough that we kind of got shut down for March and April, but then every weekend after that, tournament just started stacking up and stacking up and stacking up, and get on a little bit of a hot streak in the middle of the year. And one of the big parts to winning tournaments, is, I'm sure you guys have talked to other pros about, is just the mental ability to be able to stay in them, to stay patient, to be like, hey, look, all you got to do is throw some good shots down the stretch and make everyone else kind of match what you're doing, and practice every day. So I get out after work, practice every day in the summertime. Now it's a little tougher, but just make sure that you're ready come Saturday and Sunday, and emotionally be up and be ready for every tournament that you're going to play in, regardless of the size. Treat a C tier just like you do an A tier, just like you do a Pro Tour event. Like, every shot should matter the same. You've got to stay calm and confident through the shots, but you can't. I will try not to play a tournament if I know, like, hey, I don't have it this weekend, I got no energy, like, I'm wiped out from work for the week or whatever, like, this isn't going to be something that's going to have my full focus. If I'm playing a tournament, I want to make sure, like, I'm 100% in and committed to what I'm doing for that weekend.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And 20 wins is super impressive because you are part of this Pacific Northwest area that has really seen a boom in the last couple of years here, and you got some big names out there. Chandler Fry, Nate Sexton moved out there. Yuli was out there for a little bit. You got guys like Crabtree, who just is notorious for winning tournaments in that area. What has kind of led to the growth of the scene? You had mentioned earlier too, there's 10 or more guys at some of these smaller events that are over 1,000 rated.
I think we all help each other ratings wise, so I think it's something where you start to get good players and you start to kind of bump each other up, but also we have a very competitive group of guys out here, the ones we play against. Like, everyone comes from athletic backgrounds, and I'm sure that they do or are starting to as disc golf gets more popular kind of around the country. But everyone's so competitive that if I see my buddy Chris Nelson, who's like 10-20 right now, if I see him out playing, or we went to Milo today and played, and I know, like, hey, Chris is out there practicing on a Friday evening and I'm sitting at home, like, I'm not going to be sitting at home. I'm going to get out there and practice too, because I'm not trying to let him get the upper hand or whatever on anything. I think we've really pushed each other from like a top pro level. But honestly, the culture of the Northwest is kind of that outdoorsy. People invest a lot into parks around here, whether it's cities or whether it's counties or state parks or whatever. We have the opportunity to be able to go out and enjoy a lot of top-notch courses. I moved up to Albany about 6 years ago now, almost solely for the fact that I knew the course that I wanted to practice every day. I knew I wanted to stay in Oregon, so I was close to my family. Bryant Park is a course that is 5 minutes from my house. It's got 9 holes of kind of park layout that's long, par fours, that kind of stuff. But then it's got 9 more holes that are like super wooded, anywhere between like 350 to 600 foot wooded holes. It almost seems like an East Coast course for, the wooded par 4 shots for 9 of the holes, and then I have some open holes too. But I legitimately, and this is common around Oregon, I legitimately have probably 10 to 12 courses within 40 minutes of my house.
Yeah.
So you go up and down I-5 and you can hit Eugene, or you can be in Albany or in Corvallis, which is 15 minutes from me, which is where Oregon State University is, or in Salem, or up to Portland or whatever. There's courses everywhere, and we're lucky that there's so much land out here to be able to use that we have really good quality practice courses, ones that don't kind of get much publicity other than Milo and maybe Whistler's Bend and Blue Lake. But, we're just lucky to be able to get out and practice, in the outdoor culture, kind of the Pacific Northwest kind of leads to this activity.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, I think that's really wild, and I think one of the things that I've seen in some of those courses that are actually shown on footage is you have a lot of really old trees, a lot of really old forests, and like just huge trees, and so the wooded golf you're playing is in probably some very, very raw nature at sometimes, but you also have some of, like you said, there's a lot of investment in those parks, so you get some of that more cleanliness that you want from a really good disc golf course, because people actually care about the nature around you. So so what we're gonna do is we're gonna shift gears a little bit, and we're gonna go into what the shift and what the transition to disc golf, or to Discraft, is looking like. So just really quick, what are some discs that you've been testing that you're really liking, or any that have surprised you that you had heard about from Chandler or some of those other guys that you're like, now I have an opportunity to see what this is really like?
Well, I've got my bag here. We actually just filmed it in the bag today. So CH Sports is a group that's out of Pacific Northwest, and I did that. But I'll show you a couple of them now. I'm not too worried about spoilers. I've had this stuff in my bag for a few weeks. I've been familiar with a lot of the molds because I kind of threw a mixed bag back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, and then went to Prodigy for a year and went to Innova 5. The transition to Discraft, especially with the new Macbeth line of discs, has been completely seamless, honestly. Nice. So I'm putting with Challenger SS's. It's a little different putter than I know a lot of people are using. I don't mind the Luna, and it was really close to what I wanted. The Challenger is just a little more rounded, or the Challenger SS is kind of a little more rounded through here, and it fits a little better in my hand. I like the Pro D plastic that doesn't really have the rubber blend in it. These things are super straight, but they'll still finish left while I'm putting. It's been like a super quick transition over to these for me, and I have no issues with the putting at all. Other stuff. I mean, everyone carries his own, right? I got this from Jeff Corns, like one of the first discs for Discraft that I got. He brought me a stack of stuff when he heard I might be switching over, so that was really cool. This one's not super stable, but I'm using it for forehands. It's obviously replacing my Gator, right? I had the Tour Series Gator for a few years with Innova, so I throw a ton of forehand upshots. You got to trust what's in your bag. Zone. I mean, is there any Discraft player that doesn't carry a zone? It
Yeah.
seems like it's automatic, right?
Yeah.
What else I got in here?
What are you throwing for drivers? I know you had mentioned the Force, I think, in one of your videos.
Yep, Forces. I'm gonna dig it out right now if I can find it because it's super cool looking. I've got a few Forces in here. This is the one that I was throwing all over Milo today.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
No one does anything with the swirls like Discraft does. We know that, right? They're the coolest looking discs on the market. This is the first Force that I've got in the last few weeks or the last month since I've kind of been transitioning my bag over that I can get to go straight and actually turn right a little bit and get that kind of max distance 500 or 520 foot power out of it. All the other Forces, because I got a whole bunch of brand new stuff, right? You're changing bags, nothing's beat up yet. This is the first one that I can really get to carry right, and I had some good ones at Milo today with it. And then complement to that, I've got a couple other really stable Forces in the bag too, but then I got a Zeus that I got from Jeff from the Resistance website that is Adams from last year. So this one's really cool too. It's a Zeus that's actually stable enough for me to get into, and I'm kind of throwing that for max distance.
Oh, that's awesome.
So.
That's
Nice.
really cool. That's really cool. So, you've got this new bag, and there's obviously a lot of changes going into 2021. Kind of learning your new bag, and also changes with COVID being lifted or adjusted, everything going in. So, what does it look like in 2021 for Scott Withers as a Discraft player? Obviously, you talked about hitting some of the bigger events when you can. Can't do that as much this past year. But can you talk about what it means to tour in 2021 for you?
Yeah, I mean, I was really honest with Bob and with some of the other guys at Discraft right at the start. I mean, I'm probably never going to be a full touring player just because I love my job. I love a lot of the things that I have here, and I do enjoy the flying out to big tournaments a bunch of times a year, flying back home, and kind of having my life here too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I would ever be the complete road warrior, even though I'm going to get out there and try to compete against the guys the whole time. I'm starting the year in Vegas. I always start the year in Vegas. It's only like a 2.5 hour flight from Portland down there, and I like the tournament. I like the courses and that kind of stuff. I'm currently on the wait list for the Memorial. I didn't even realize it was happening. Oh, I knew it was happening. I didn't realize signups had opened, so I'm buried down the wait list. We'll see if I can get in on that. And I'll do for sure the whole West Coast swing. So I'm gonna play San Francisco and Santa Cruz. I'll play Beaver State Fling, Portland Open. I'll play Worlds in Utah. There's a chance, or a good chance, that I probably try to go to Waco in March. So that for sure. And then I'd imagine that I'm going to do what I can to get out to the Great Lakes Open, Discraft sponsored event, obviously out by the factory. I want to get up there and check everything out, assuming COVID is backed off by that point. We're allowed to kind of go do that type of stuff. And then USDGC to end the year. So I'm looking at probably 8 to 10 Elite Series events, and I'll play 30 PDGA events total. It just kind of depends on where those all fall, but maybe 4 or 5 other A tiers. I'll have to travel a little bit to Washington or over to Idaho to play some of those, and then between those 8 to 10 Elite Series events, I'll fill in the rest of them with B tiers every weekend I can, and just kind of hit the grind and do it my way.
Yeah. No, I think
That's a full schedule.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that we Discraft now we've pretty much captained both sides of the country with some of the best regional players. And when you do show up at those big ones, we always see your name. So it's cool to see Discraft tie down. I mean, I think you're the 8th highest rated player in the world, and that's for good reason. So kind of looking at 2021 and beyond. Obviously, you said you're probably not going to make the full tour, understandably. But why Discraft? Why now? What did you see in this change that really kind of like made everything click? What was it that made Discraft make sense right now?
I mean, nothing's growing quicker, right? Discraft has, in the last 2 years since Macbeth went over there, and we all know the pull that he has. He's probably the only player in the game that's truly bigger than the game. Um, Discraft has grown so much, releasing new molds, being able to keep players equipped. I like the idea of a little smaller team. I have nothing but positive things to say about my time at Innova, but there was 300 sponsored players or something. Like, it's tough to get any publicity and stuff out of them as a sponsor, and I value all the relationships I had with them and everything, but Discraft just makes perfect sense to coming to a team where they're really going to promote the heck out of their players. They're really going to provide opportunities. I know Bob was super excited when I said, like, hey, I'm running 6 to 8 tournaments a year, right? If we want a way to get all this Discraft plastic into the hands of new players in the Northwest has never been a Discraft area. And it's turning into that because, one, the strides that Discraft's made, but also you put a couple of us in the right spots that are truly kind of leading the charge out here, and we can flip that and do it the right way. The equipment speaks for itself. You give me a buzz, and now I have a mid-range that I can throw 350 feet and it goes dead straight. Like, the equipment's kind of a no-brainer, right? We know that it is on par or better than any other line of equipment out there. And I think it was just the ability, when I had conversations with the higher ups, we'll say, at Discraft, and I talked to Ulibarri a lot about it too beforehand, which is like, if you want to work hard, there is so many opportunities through Discraft to help kind of take care of yourself and take care of your family. But it's going to come through hard work. And I'm not scared of that. I'm not scared of going out to prove myself, whether it's performance wise or whether it's like clinics, running tournaments, doing social media stuff. It's all things that I'm really comfortable with. And when they laid all that out for me, and it was like, the more you help us, the more we will help you. And it kind of turns into the relationship where I was very clear with companies that I was talking to before this next season, I guess. I'm not looking for a 1-year thing. I'm not trying to sign with Discraft to be there for 1 year and then dart somewhere else. Like, I want this to be a career move for me and take the last 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 years or however long I'm playing MPO. Like, I want this to be a relationship that lasts, where I can totally take the Discraft brand and help push it in the Northwest and all across the country too.
Man,
That's the best commercial I've seen in a long time. It's really good to hear you put it so clearly, and I think it kind of validates a lot of the stuff that, like, Wes and I will chat about, right? We'll be like, man, we're doing all this awesome stuff, but it's really amazing when not only do other players see it, but other professionals, and I mean yourself, right? Like, your name carries a lot of weight in the sport. Like, if you pay attention to the sport of disc golf and you're involved in this community, like, Scott Withers is a name you know. So it's really great to hear you kind of recognize that and then make the step. And obviously the goal is I mean, that's why we want to bring you on. We want to give back to you and like learn from you. And it's this kind of family and this community that we're trying to build over at Discraft.
Well, sure. And some of the conversations that I have, and I get asked by players all the time, like, oh, how do I get sponsored? Or what is that? And one of the biggest things that I always tell them is, you've got to be an asset to that company as much as that company is going to be an asset to you. Like, it has to be a relationship that's beneficial for both parties, or there's no sense to do it. If you don't have a social media following, if you don't try to promote products, if you're not out being the face of the sport in at least your local area, why should a company stand behind you? And when I was having conversations with Paul and with Bob and everyone, it was like, we recognize the things that you're doing. Like, those are the things that we want in someone that's on the team. And that was a big part to me. I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to stop doing this stuff. And I want to show everyone around that you can make a career, or at least a secondary career, out of disc golf. You don't have to be 1040 to be able to do that, right? There's other ways that, like you guys with running your YouTube channel and your podcasts and all the things that might be going on, there's ways to help promote for a company where they will help you out. And that's just one of the things I always tell new players, like, how do I get sponsored? I'm like, you got to make yourself, you got to show to a company why you're going to be valuable to them. And, when I talked to Discraft about a lot of those things, it hit home. It was like, this is, if they're going to work with me, this is where I need to be, and this is the step that I need to take for my career.
That's really awesome. So, man, that's the good stuff. we're gonna go a little bit lighter. So Wes has some rapid fires to end this, but it's so good to hear your perspective on all this. Wes, take it away, my man.
Yeah, so we got
give it to me.
We got 10 rapid fires. We got some good ones in here, maybe a challenging one or two, but for the most part, we got some fun ones today.
All right.
Are you ready, Scott?
I'm ready.
All right. Cake or ice cream?
I'm lactose intolerant, so cake all day.
Easy one. Favorite genre of music?
I'll go all over the place. Probably at this point, I listen to more country than everything else. I grew up in a small Southern Oregon town.
Yeah.
Fair. We won't judge. Rainy round or windy round? Which would you rather play in?
Rainy all day. I grew up in Oregon. Come on.
Yeah.
300 days a year. I hate the wind.
Your favorite place you've traveled to for disc golf?
Oh man. I've gone to a lot of cool places. Going to South Carolina is always special every year. One trip that I really look forward to every year, and it's a little off the beaten path, I would say, but Farragut Open is in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. It's like super north in Idaho, but it's just beautiful. There's lakes all over the place, and there's a lot of other outdoor activities we can go to. So I think that like Coeur d'Alene, it's like almost Spokane of Washington, which might be a little more recognizable. But I think that's kind of like the trip that we drive to every year. It's like 10 hours away, but outside of the Pro Tour stuff, that might be my favorite place to go.
That's awesome.
Nice. What is the most important shot in disc golf? The tee shot, the up shot, or the putt?
I'm gonna say the tee shot, and I'll summarize this real quick. Things that I always tell players on how to get better, or with tee shots, like how to score well. Don't hit the first tree, right? So hit your initial gap. Don't throw it out of bounds, and then I guess scoring wise, make your putts inside the circle, and those are the 3 keys to scoring well.
Nice. Pro advice. Your favorite thing to do off the disc golf course?
Softball. I play softball all summer. I love it. I'll play basketball in the winter too, but yeah, I'm a baseball guy. Always have been. I play softball all year. So
nice. You were just there today. You get 1 mid, 1 fairway, 1 driver at Milo MacGyver. What are you grabbing out of your bag?
This is easy. I'm carrying a Force. I'm carrying a Buzz because the Buzz can do everything, and then I'll just carry my Challenger SS as a putter. Yeah, that's easy.
Okay.
Oh, good. Nice. A player that you haven't got to play with yet, but that you would really like to.
I haven't played with Calvin yet. So I've been around him in a bunch of cards, either been above or below. Well, probably below him at this point because he's on lead card of every single tournament, it seems like. But I like his attitude, and I kind of like his demeanor in the course. So yeah, probably Calvin is the one I haven't played with that I would like to.
It seems like he's kind of a fun guy on the card too. Some of the side conversations that you maybe don't see on camera, it seems like he has more personality than the cameras kind of portray.
Yeah, I think so. Too.
What is the best course in the Pacific Northwest?
Best course in the Pacific Northwest is Whistler's Bend. It's in Roseburg, Oregon, kind of southern Oregon. No one knows about it unless you live up here. It's 27 holes, tons of elevation, forehands, backhands. It only gets the nod over Milo because Milo is a very righty backhand friendly course. Whistler's is a little more physical challenge, but you have to be able to throw every shot in the bag and angle control and stuff. I think it's a little harder.
Nice. I thought Milo was going to be a lock. Our last question.
I'm a Southern Oregon guy.
Yeah, that's fair. Our last question, 20 wins in 2020. It has such a nice ring to it. Over or under in 2021, 20 and a half wins?
Ooh. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to go over. I don't care if I get there or not. I'll take the bet on myself every time.
Okay.
It's going to be hard to do. There's a lot of really good players out here, but I'm not scared of it. I'll go for it.
That's
nice.
awesome.
Awesome. Well, that is it for our rapid fires. We want to thank you, Scott, for joining us. I know we're both really looking forward to following along with your journey this year, whether it's at a small tournament or at the big ones. We'll definitely be following along and rooting for you. And at the end of the day, Alex, one thing left to do.
Make that putt.
Make it.